Hey guys, Dylan from Geek Door here, and today I'll be bringing you my reaction to Percy Jackson Season 2, Episode 5, titled We Check into Cece's Spa and Resort. Percy and Annabeth must confront their flaws at a resort sanctuary. And unfortunately, I have had one thing spoiled for me about this episode, in that this adapts at least some of chapter 13 as well. So chapter 12 is Cece's Resort. I figured this was going to be like a Medusa or the Lotus Hotel, where the entire episode is just this one location, basically a bottle episode. But no, I have seen that it does go into chapter 13, which, I mean, yeah, Cece's is, what is that, 21 pages? No, that's, I can understand how how long is this episode? The episode is 49 minutes, plus opening and closing. That'd be more than double for it. So, yeah, I guess I can understand wanting to go further. It might even be all of chapter 13. Just trying to get the episode loaded now. Should hopefully be good. Let's get it started in 3, 2, 1, go. I thought that the tentacle that keeps showing up. I thought that was got to do with the Guardians of the Sea of Monsters, like Charybdis, or maybe that was one of Scylla's. But Scylla is more crab-like, and Charybdis, as far as we saw, doesn't have tentacles. So that's just some other sea monster that we have no explanation for in the books. But yes, as we saw in the last episode, Clarice gets sucked into the hurricane, Annabeth gets sucked into the hurricane, Percy is left on the ship as it's falling apart in the hurricane, and Tyson was in the boiler when it exploded. Also, all of the undead soldiers died, rather than just the 6. I just heard Tyson say yes, brother, from when he was told to more speed. Oh, he's just already there. Okay. I don't know, a steam room doesn't necessarily seem like the best place to put someone who's recuperating. Hey, they did actually. I wasn't sure if they were gonna show Hilla, because um, that relates to future plot points and future characters. And I thought maybe they'd just have a reference so they didn't have to lock in anything. Because Hilla was who greeted them in the book. I saw someone joke that the whole flying home alone with Clarice is that the hurricane just sent her straight back to camp. Also, another thing, completely unrelated, I'm actually gonna pause. Um, I saw a wild theory the other day about the last episode, suggesting that Rainbow the hippocampus, the one that Tyson was throwing the bracelet to and playing fetch with and everything, I've said that I saw someone say that maybe the hippocampus is the bracelet, in the same way that Aegis is a bracelet for Thalia, Annabeth has her magic cap, Percy has Riptide, the whole monster donuts in the book being a breeding nest for monsters, like each time a new one opens, more monsters are born. So getting the bracelet from a monster donut set and throwing it in the water, and then all of a sudden there's hippocampus. I can see how that could come together, especially considering we didn't have the hippocampus at the start, yet somehow Tyson has a relationship with one, despite not knowing about his like water lineage any time before, and he wouldn't have found any way to get a hippocampus in New York. So yeah, and that's also why Tyson was just holding the bracelet when he said he was playing with Rainbow. He wasn't actively throwing it out and getting it back. He was just running it over his fingers. Them talking about Tyson remind me of this, and I just needed to bring up the note to remember what the full thing was. But yeah. Anyway, let's get this back now. I completely forgot I had that pause button, by the way. Huh. Interesting. This is very different. Hmm. Getting into the whole getting into the whole fatal flaws and everything. That's a little bit odd. Earlier. I mean, they did say what was out there. Just a Roman legionnaire on a jet ski is funny. Yeah, really not gelling with the design of the sirens. Just no one survived to. deepest desire. Once again, they're all rooted to the ground, like the shades in Asphodel. It sort of seems like a place outside of time. Ah, that's what that shot from the trailer was. The trailer actually had the helmet dropping. And it seems like bravery isn't it. Seems like impatience or ego, maybe. Very interesting take on. I feel like the sirens would work the same as Scylla and Charybdis. Also, speaking of that, they were using Myth and Magic. Apparently, Clarice's own set. Like how Percy was playing in season one with Grover to train him for what was to come. Um, Apparently, that's just a thing that all demigods have. That wasn't something that was introduced till book three. And showing the actual figures, showing a collector's case and everything. That could be interesting. Because apparently, they're actually doing merch for this season. You sort of seem like you're in the same inlet. So did you worship here as well? No, this doesn't really look like the same island. She's on Polyphemus' island. Huh. But if you didn't know that, then you would. But Grover being there, and also the subtitles giving the name. And if you survive, then it's funny. In the book, she completely bungled the whole Grover pretending to be a female because she was captured by Polyphemus, and she was strung up, about to be eaten. And he's like, "This is my bride, right? That's a male satyr." And then he tries to eat Grover as well. Hmm. Having these two team up is a very interesting because they only ever really interact during the scene where I just mentioned. Walker rocks that outfit. Leah looks a little uncomfortable, but that could just be acting in character of Annabeth being uncomfortable. But they both. I don't know of anyone who looks bad in outfits like that. Hmm. I mean, yeah, that is a thing with Fatal Flaws. Some of them are good in moderation, but too much of it is what gets you killed. It makes it so you can't act the way you need to. Hmm. Their voices were so different in season one. What's very interesting about this is Athena said this to him at the end of book 4. not Cersei. Like, we never got Percy's fatal flaw in book 2. As she said at the start of the season, he gets to go home and be a regular person. She doesn't. She's more god than human. I'm actually really enjoying this introspective. And this can still work into the way things end up, giving. Hmm. At first, I wasn't sure about the changes, but I'm seeing the picture. Dryad or just being able to talk to nature as well. Ow. At least they put that there for her. Okay. So in a way, Clarice being there was the reason for him being found out, but it wasn't through her actions or words or anything. That one there is Greek. Looks like a kid of Apollo. Someone makes it through. Hmm. Is it that she doesn't see them as heroes, or is it that um I forgot what the alternative was that. And then they left a year later. Well, except for one who fell off the roof. I forget, was she also in Jason's story? That's a big chinchilla. And it's just sort of riptide on the ground. I mean, I can understand that perspective. Why are we getting subtitles for the guinea pigs? Uh, this this change to Cersei is very interesting, and as Percy said, I believe that she believes what she's saying. That she believes that what she's doing is for the best of. Why did he lock you in the cupboard? Despair for your life, entombed within stone. Do you remember who her father is? Cares? Yeah, I really should have picked up on that. How do you know Percy's? Ooh, that's a change. You can tune into his dreams? Okay, that is. More hubris, but hubris is excessive pride. Pride in its own and hubris are different, but uh, smart. You're a daughter of Hecate? Make you feel like yourself again. Yeah, I didn't think her mum was Hecate. Hmm. Now, what's interesting is in the. I should probably wait until um we see how this ends before I say that. It's empty. Yeah, but here's the issue. If you're tied to the mast, you've got control over water. Bitch. That's why you should have done that before. Hmm. Having them both be able to hear it is a change. Hmm. think it is. The spear makes me think so. That's Athena. Now, how dark would it be if this is the vision? Oh, god damn it, why did I say that? Why did I say that? What is being shown to us? I guess just all the wrecked ships and that? I was thinking there wasn't anything like hubris related in the vision with. Unless it was trying to entice her. I'll pause it so I can get. I thought maybe the vision was trying to entice her into saying, oh yeah, just use your wisdom. You can set peace for these two factors. You can have all your friends back together. And no, the actual hubris was thinking she had the willpower and intelligence to not only resist the Siren Soul, but also turn it against them. Okay. And that she was, I don't want to say special enough, but she was able to prove herself to her mum in a way that no other demigod child of Athena has that we've seen. Oh, that is. Oh. There were elements of what actually happened in the book in that scene. The visions and everything were completely different. But one thing I want to point out is how did Percy get back on the boat using just the rope tied around his waist? It's because he is able to psychically control the moorings and the mast and everything on a ship. He's able to psychically command it into running itself. And since the rope was connected to the ship, he was able to control it to pull himself back. And yeah, so that was a very nice subversion of expectation. It was just a little too nice for Athena for me to think it was real. Anyway, back to. Also, I should point out that Percy did have the willpower to completely resist the sirens. We don't know if he saw anything from them. Now, here's the thing: they say that acting on your fatal flaw is making you more human. The flaws come from the gods. That is that is a very nice touch. That is a nice touch on his fatal flaw. That a friend being in danger was able to. Okay, that was that was a very interesting episode. I will say, arguably, it's Cersei. I I might say I like that more than the book. So in the book, Cersei. I'm going to switch between saying Cersei and Cersei. I never settle on one. It's just something I do. So in the book, she was still very much Homer's Odyssey, where sailors would rock up on her shore, and she'd take the female ones to train under her, be part of, like, protected by her, all of that. Because she, I shouldn't say she's like the Odyssey, because I haven't read the Odyssey. I'm going off of Epic the Musical, where she was again different, but um, she had people on her island under her protection. She was training them and everything, entirely female. When males rocked up, they were a threat because men are terrible. And so she would bring the women in under her, and the men she'd turn into guinea pigs. And it was actually darker in the book because she said that she'd send those guinea pigs out to primary schools to be classroom pets. So, in this, as far as we don't know about all the other animals in that office, but at least the guinea pigs, they were all turned back. Blackbeard and his crew, and Percy. Those were the only guinea pigs that were turned back in the book as well. But there were who knows how many other people that she'd turned and just sent out into the world to live a guinea pig's life. And as you saw with Blackbeard, they gained some qualities of being guinea pigs for so long with the celery. So, yeah. Um, but here, the first thing I noticed was that it wasn't just women. That was the big change that I mentioned right at the start, was that there are males there too, just going about doing their own thing. The whole trying to protect them and keep them under her, because as long as they're with her, they're safe. No harm will come to them. They won't die to the sirens. They won't pass them and die on some other quest. They won't. They're just safe, protected. She is their protector, and so having that was a very nice touch. And as Percy said, she believes what she's saying is what's actually happening. But he was very able to quickly able to figure it out that things aren't as clean as they seem. So, yeah. It was actually a very nice subversion. Also, we had Zadie, who seemed to be aging fully. Yet she said 50 years ago, someone in proper Greek armor left. No, wait. 50 years ago, the one next to the one in Greek armor left. And then recently, the one that looked like a modern day child of Apollo left. And the one who went out first, trying to find his name, um, Stavros. Um, he was in Roman Legionnaire armor. So that implies that there is a timeless quality to Cersei's spa, which there was in the books as well. A place of magic tends to mess with time, like the Lotus Hotel, like several other places that we will see as this progresses. But yeah, it's just interesting that Zadie seemed to be aging normally, yet others have been there for who knows how long. Um, it was nice getting to see Hilla. Um, I was like I said, I wasn't sure if they were going to bring her in or not, or just have a like what they did in the Lotus Hotel, just have an off screen someone calls out to her and it's like, here's your reference to this character. We don't want to commit on anything yet, but we're going to acknowledge that yes, they do still exist in this place. Um, but yeah, getting to see Clarice wash up on Polyphemus's island, the whole trying to escape with Grover to get the fleece and everything, succumbing to despair at being in her tomb of stone, and then figuring out that yeah, something doesn't really work out with what Grover's saying, considering he knows I'm a child of Ares, and he would never refer to Ares as merciful. Um, I do like how her dad is such a dick that that is what threw it off. Um, oh, what was there was another media, not really recent, but in my lifetime, so in the last 24 years, um, where something similar happened where someone, like a shapeshifter or something, Yellow Eyes Demon in Supernatural, how he possessed John in season one and wasn't mad at Dean for using a colt bullet, and Dean figured out that it wasn't actually his dad by that. I, it's just been playing in my mind, and I couldn't figure out who it was until I verbalized it. But all of this stuff, that's all new. Having Polyphemus actually be smart, like that is one thing they've changed from Cyclopses. Like, yes, Tyson was meant to be a child, like in the same way that Grover ages at half the speed of regular humans, so do Cyclopses, in that he looked like I want to say seventh grader, yet he was still effectively a baby in terms of. No, wait, that'd be the opposite of Grover. They age quicker physically. Um, but yes, and they've changed it. They've kept some youthful qualities to him, yet he's nowhere near what he was in the book. And the Polyphemus is more in line with the Cyclops that actually trapped um, Luke, Thalia, and Annabeth in the book, just using the mimicry to manipulate and separate and just playing on their expectations to lure them into his trap. The whole pretending to be um I can't think of a way to describe it without being using terms we're not meant to use anymore. Like simple is what I was thinking. Um and playing on that to actually I've known the whole time. I've just been playing along to see what happens. And yeah. So Clarice knows that Percy and Annabeth are alive, or at least Percy is. Neither of them have confirmation about Annabeth. Um, Annabeth tried to give some hope into Percy about Tyson surviving the explosion of the boiler room, saying, yeah, he's fireproof, and he was, like, he face tanked a bomb earlier in the season. But a little handmade bomb from a exploding cannonball is a lot different to a full boiler system of a old ship that old, going that high powered, combined with Hermes' wind canister, creating a hurricane that rips the metal ship apart. There's a little bit of difference there. Um, but yeah, the whole thing with Cersei is that it ends pretty much the same with them releasing Blackbeard's crew on the island. Um, Percy and Annabeth escape. Percy actually takes the what is it, Queen Anne? That was Blackbeard's ship, yeah. That's not just his ship in Pirates. Queen Anne ship. Okay, change that. Queen Anne Blackbeard ship. Queen Anne's Revenge. Most family used by as the flagship by Edward Teach, and it did say call me Edward. Yeah. So I've been replaying through the Lego games on my streams, and I've just finished Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, and in that game, Blackbeard is able to mentally control parts of his ship in the same way that Percy is able to do it in the book. I don't know if he can in the movie. I haven't seen the fourth one, but it's just funny that in that game that I was literally playing half an hour before I started this recording, he was using his mind to control parts of the ship. And then we get to the part of this book where Percy does that exact thing of mentally controlling the Queen Anne's Revenge to steer itself, to like set itself up and ready and everything. It's just timed really perfectly. Except in this, they didn't take Blackbeard's ship. You could actually see it moored at. Why did I say it like that? Moored at the dock while they were in their little boat. Um. Oh yeah. Another thing in the book related to the sirens, Annabeth's vision was very different than this. One, we didn't know what her fatal flaw was by this point. She did say it in the episode beforehand. We didn't know Percy's. Maybe it was book 3. It may have been the end of book 3 that Athena talks to him about it. And she straight up says the worst fatal flaws are those that seem good. Like excessive personal loyalty of he would do anything to save a friend. But if a friend is in danger, and it's either save them or finish the quest, save them or save Olympus. Like that's the whole thing with Percy is. I can't say that because we haven't said the full prophecy yet. But it does tie into he could either save or destroy Olympus. But yeah, in the book, they did actually play on Odysseus and that successfully. In that, Annabeth was the one tied to the mast. Percy had the wax in his ears, and because Annabeth wanted to hear the siren's song. She wanted to know what they would show her in the same way Odysseus did in the Odyssey, how he had his crew all plug their ears while he was tied to the ship. The problem is, Percy forgot to disarm Annabeth, so while she was under the thrall of the siren's song, she pulled out her knife and cut the rope, leapt overboard, and started swimming towards the jagged rocks and everything that the sirens were on. And Percy actually caught up with her and grabbed a hold of her, and he was brought into what Annabeth was seeing by the siren's song, which was her mum, her dad, and Luke all sat together smiling, having a good time. The war was over. A new skyline for Manhattan was there, designed entirely by her. And that was what the sirens were showing her. And then Percy pulled her under the water, created a bubble around them so that she could breathe, yet the noise and everything was just being what's the word? Diffused, so that it wasn't influencing her as much. And they just stayed down there until she had recovered enough, and then he took her back to the ship. So it is similar in that she hears a song, she makes her way to the sirens, she almost gets caught by them until Percy comes in, pulls her under the water, takes her back to the ship. It's just the vision was different, and Percy didn't actually get to see what she was seeing. But she was completely open with telling him what she saw. And I guess that is the difference between having these books, which are entirely told by Percy's perspective, of he needed to be brought into the vision so that we could see what the vision was, whereas with this, we're able to just see what Annabeth is seeing. Same with Clarice. He had to be told what happened to her when she washed up on shore and all the stuff before they met, whereas we are able to see. And that's what I like about this. Of they're making small changes. They're subverting expectations of those who have read the book in a way that still A makes sense for the characters, and B ends up in the same place, which is what my biggest issue with the Lotus Hotel episode. That was the only episode I didn't like in season 1. And this is similarly drastically changed. Like, they both completely different from their book counterparts. It's just this was so much more compelling, made so much more sense for the characters, and still ended essentially the same way. Whereas the Lotus Hotel, they failed their quest. Like, Hermes screwed them over so that they failed. If that had have happened in the book, there would have been no stopping the war between Zeus and Poseidon. Like, he had until the midnight on the solstice. Otherwise, the war started immediately. Not, you know what, I'm just going to give your son a few more days to get it done, go down to the underworld, and just admit that you were in the wrong, and yeah, the war's over. Like, that was my issue of it completely changed everything about the story. Whereas this, everything's still the same. But yeah, it was also nice to get to see Athena. It seems like they want to include the gods more, because in the first book it really was just Dionysus, Zeus, and Poseidon. Those were the only gods we saw. Whereas and Ares. Whereas we also got to see Hephaestus. We also got to see Hermes. In this, it was meant to be Hermes and, oh god, was it just Hermes? Maybe. But we get to see Athena. Like, I'm talking about being introduced. We obviously saw Dionysus as well. And yeah. So, and I know we're going to get more introduced in season 3, because that's when they're introduced in the books. and same with season 4. But getting to see, no wait, pretty much everyone's introduced in book 3, because I'm not going to say that, but yeah, it was nice getting to see Athena. Um, the actress looks so familiar. Um, she looks so familiar. Um, 100 Day. Hasn't actually been in much as an actress. Um, it's done some music and everything. Um, why would I know her? Maybe I've heard some songs and seen film clips. Um, I don't know. But of all the gods, she is the least um filmography. She has the least on her filmography. Okay. Oh yeah, we also saw Hades in season 1. I can't believe I forgot about him. But I'm gonna end this one here. I really enjoyed this episode, and we've got 3 episodes left to cover chapters 14 through to 20, and they've just arrived at Polyphemus's island. Hmm. But anyway, I said I was ending this one here, so I'll catch you in the next one.